Welcome to Concrete Block, the podcast where we dive into the latest news and current events shaping our world. This move is being seen as a significant challenge to President Volodymyr Zelensky's leadership, especially given the ongoing conflict with Russia. Fedorov's reasoning is that democracy cannot be held hostage by Russia, and he believes that holding elections would be a crucial step in maintaining Ukraine's democratic institutions. However, there are also concerns about the practicality of conducting free and fair elections in a war-torn nation. The question remains whether Fedorov plans to run against Zelensky himself, which could further complicate the situation. In related news, Russia and Ukraine have recently swapped 103 prisoners of war each, a rare moment of cooperation between the two countries amidst the ongoing conflict. This exchange is seen as a positive step towards resolving the humanitarian aspects of the war, but it does not address the underlying issues driving the conflict. Meanwhile, President Zelensky has been focusing on other matters, such as presenting housing certificates to decorated veterans and their families, emphasizing the importance of gratitude and respect for those who have served. While this is an important gesture, it also underscores the broader challenges Ukraine faces in balancing its military efforts with the needs of its citizens. As the situation in Ukraine continues to unfold, we'll be keeping a close eye on developments. The call for wartime elections raises critical questions about democracy, leadership, and the future of the country. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Concrete Block. Welcome back to Concrete Block. We're diving into the world of international politics now, with a fascinating story from Iceland. The country is gearing up for a referendum on August 29th, where citizens will decide whether to open accession talks with the European Union. This vote is just the first step in a long process that could potentially lead to Iceland's membership in the EU. Now, let's break it down. If Icelanders say yes to negotiations, this would trigger 2 or more years of bargaining with Brussels, followed by another referendum, possibly in 2028, on whether to join the bloc. On the other hand, if they say no, the government has framed this as a now or never moment, which could put all EU speculation aside. Supporters of EU membership argue that it would help Iceland boost its economy, stand up to larger trade partners, and withstand Arctic rivalry under US President Donald Trump. They also point out that membership would bring down interest rates and provide a more stable currency. However, opponents are concerned about handing over power and influence to Brussels, and worry that joint resource management under the EU's common fisheries policy could open the door to foreign vessels in Icelandic waters. The fisheries industry is a significant player in this debate, as it is not only a crucial part of Iceland's economy, but also a symbol of national identity. Some argue that keeping their own currency, the krona, would allow Iceland to retain control over its economic fortunes and make adjustments as needed. It's worth noting that the EU is also keen on bringing Iceland into the fold, as it would extend the bloc's reach in the Arctic region and provide a strategic location in the North Atlantic. However, the decision ultimately rests with the Icelandic people, who will have to weigh the pros and cons of membership carefully. As we wait for the outcome of this referendum, one thing is clear: the path ahead will be complex and multifaceted, with implications for both Iceland and the EU as a whole. We'll be keeping a close eye on developments and bringing you updates as more information becomes available. Welcome back to Concrete Block. We're closing out today's show with a look at the recent Florida Senate primary, where Angie Nixon emerged victorious despite being significantly outspent by her opponent. Nixon, a progressive Democrat and 3-time state lawmaker from Jacksonville, ran on a platform of affordability, pushing for policies like Medicare for all, free childcare and family leave, and a national rent freeze and moratorium on evictions. Her grassroots organizing efforts clearly paid off, as she defeated presumed frontrunner Alex Vindman by 12 percentage points. Vindman, who had raised over $16 million for his campaign, was expected to win, but Nixon's strong connection with voters and her commitment to progressive values seemed to resonate more deeply. It's worth noting that Nixon faces an uphill battle in the general election, as she'll be facing off against Republican incumbent Ashley Moody, who has been a staunch supporter of President Trump's voter suppression efforts. However, Nixon's primary win is being seen as a significant upset and a testament to the power of grassroots organizing. As we look ahead to the general election, it will be interesting to see how Nixon's campaign evolves and whether she can continue to build momentum. One thing is certain: her commitment to progressive values and her willingness to take on tough fights have endeared her to many voters in Florida. That's all for today's Concrete Block. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, stay informed.